only like 15 seconds it just went out. The flame went out. So the heater's gone haywire on me, so I'm gonna have to pull it apart and see what's wrong. So right now it's just sitting here, and then it's gonna fire up again. So listen for the fire up. Hear how loud it is? So let's take it apart and see what we find. So we're inside now. This is my sink area, and below it is a cabinet, and then below here is a vent for the intake for the heater, for the airflow, and the air will suck in there, go through the heater, and then it'll go out vents. I have a vent over there and a vent over there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off and then come back to you. And it's held on by 4 screws, Robert's head screws. I've got the cover off. I just want to show you something here. I didn't really show it in any of my other videos, but I have some rigid inch insulation board here that I put in here to muffle the sound of the fan running on the furnace, and it actually works. I read in the instructions on the installation of the furnace that you needed 55 square inches of air space so the flow will go into the furnace behind here. So I have a gap over here in the side, and I got a gap going around behind here. So I have more than 55 square inches. So that is more than 55 square inches to let airflow go around the furnace. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that board. I just have it hot glued in place, just tacked to hold it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that, and we'll look and see what's going on inside there. So let's move in for a closer look. I got the baffle removed, and then I also put insulation in here, and so there's plenty of clearance around it according to the installation guide for this. So I put that in there to help muffle the sound too, so it helps. So looking in here over a 4-year period plus, you can see here the dust that's accumulating in here. So I'm going to vacuum this out, and then I'm going to remove this cover here. There's 2 screws, and we'll see what's going on in there. I've got the cover off, and I've turned it on, and if you can look here in this little inspection window, you'll see the flame kind of sputtering in there. I can bring it in here, hopefully fix it up. There should be a steady flame in there. It's not flickering, it's like flashing back and forth. So I'm going to pull this cover off here. There's 4 screws. Let's see what's going on inside there. Here's the information on the furnace. It's a NT-20SQ. So this label inside the furnace has all the information you need that tells all about it. So inside your furnace, if you open it up, you'll see a label inside that will have the information on it. And you should have a pamphlet that came with your trailer or RV that tells what it is. So just so you know, I've disconnected the battery, so I have no power in the trailer or power coming to this. This is 12 volts. This is the igniter here. There was 2 screws holding this in place here with 1/4-inch heads on them. So I removed those. This igniter looks good, and I know it's good too because it was igniting the burners that we saw inside there. I'm going to slide this off. And you can see there's a gasket. I'm going to need to buy a new gasket for that. So let me go ahead and slide this thing out. It just slides out. Let's take a look at this. This burner setup doesn't look good at all. Let me turn the flashlight on this camera, and then I'll get back to you. Now that I have it out, this burner setup, these look like they're completely plugged up. I'm going to take it to the workbench and see about cleaning this up. I think it might be too far gone. I'm going to see, check the workbench. So this right here is where the gas shoots in, goes down to the end, and then the flames come off here. Let's see if we can see inside this chamber. And I can kind of see some debris in the bottom there that I'm going to have to vacuum out. You can see there at the end, you can see that tube right back there. See it? And that's where the gas comes, and it shoots into this right here, into this tube. So let's take this to a workbench and see what we can do, but it looks like I'm gonna have to buy a whole new burner. Here we are on the workbench. I took this and tapped it, and this stuff came out. And then here, I'm gonna zoom in for you. I think there's supposed to be open spaces all along there, but it's all plugged up with debris. And it's looking to me like it's damaged, so I'm probably gonna have to replace this whole thing here. This is 5 years old. So we've been using it 5 years. We camp pretty much year round, every couple weeks. We camp at the coast and other cold areas, but not where there's snow. So it runs a lot at night. So that's probably what it is. And we camp a lot on the coast, like I said. And so it's possible it's just bringing in the coastal air in here to corrode this. Looking in the manual here, just let's take a look at this. You want to see a sharp blue flame, not any yellow flame with long flames coming off it. So we were only seeing a little bit of flame here, not even down here. And so since it wasn't flaming right, you can see here all the charcoal, it wipes off. The carbon, I'm sorry, carbon. So it says you can remove this unit and then blow in there and blow in all these spots where there's arrows to clean any loose debris. We'll see if I'm going to do that. I might just vacuum in here, and since there's some debris that came off of this here. In this picture too, it shows that little sight glass we looked in, and the electrode here, and the spark plug wire. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this. I'm really leery about touching this with a wire brush, so I'm going to take some compressed air and blow in it and see what happens. So I'll come back to you and we'll see if this thing blew apart. So what I did was I took compressed air and I tried to blow these out, and it didn't do anything. And then I tried a soft bristle brush. It's not a wire brush, it's just soft bristle. It didn't do anything. I used a wire brush. It didn't do anything. So then I end up using this little pick to pick on these individually. And I'm seeing these are really rusted out, as you can see. And I'm thinking that I'm just going to go ahead and replace this whole unit, because what will happen is if these break down and start falling out, what's going to happen is there's going to be bigger gaps, and then I won't have a nice burning flame across this whole area, and that could be a problem. So I'm going to go online and search and see what I got here. The only thing I can think of what caused this is, since we camp at the coast a lot, and there's a lot of salt water air, what's happening is maybe it's drawing in here, and it's just corroding it, possibly, and then causing it to fail so quickly. So I don't know if anybody's ever seen anything like this before or had this problem, but maybe in the comments below you could leave some comments on what you found or heard, or what could be causing this. But I'm just going to replace this and get things cleaned up. And what I'll do, I'll make sure in the description below, I'll put a link to this, this burner. So if you need to get one for this type of furnace, and I'll put what type of furnace and what model number it is down below in the description. So I'm going to order a new part, and then it might take a few days, and then I'm going to put it side by side with this one, and we'll take a look at the difference. Let's take a closer look inside this chamber. I'm going to probably vacuum this stuff up, and then down here is the orifice. You can see it. Hopefully it comes in clear. See that little opening there? It's got a bunch of carbon on it from not firing properly down here because the burner's all plugged up. So let's zoom in on that again. A little tiny hole. So I'm going to go ahead and keep working on this project, but I know I'm going to have to replace this gasket too for sure. I ordered a new burner and gasket off Amazon. I'll put links to those products below in the description below the YouTube video if you want to order some yourself. But in the meantime, I thought I'm going to try and do something. I'm going to take the old burner, clean it out, and then put it in and see how it works, just so I can show you how it works and learn myself what happens with the flame. And then what I'll do is I'll pull it out. The new one arrived, and I'm gonna put it on a bench and compare it, this one with the new one, so you can see what it looks like in the little ports where the gas comes out of the tube. So this, I'm going to turn this on. You won't be able to hear me, so I'm not going to talk until I pull the camera away. But I want to show you what the flame looks like. The flame comes out nice and blue, but it's not really consistent, and the flame looks a little big to me. And then all of a sudden it'll run for a little bit. Things will get hot, and then the flame will change, and the flame will just go all over the place. It's not really a nice, clean, tight flame. So I'm going to turn it on right now and show you what it does when the flame's running, and then when it goes crazy, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. And then we'll compare the two burners, the old one and the new one. So I'm going to turn it on now. So it's running right now. Here's what the flame looks like. Rather than have you wait to see the flame change, I'll come back to it right when the flame changes and show you. So the flame just changed to be real erratic. So let's go in and take a look. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off, and then I'm going to set the two burners side by side, and we'll check them out and see what the difference is in this failed burner that's been cleaned and the new one. You'll be surprised. Here's the two burners side by side. I'm going to zoom in a minute to show you the difference in these burner holes here. Here's all the debris that I got out of cleaning this with this pick here. And I want to show you the difference. These holes are a lot smaller because these, when I cleaned them out, they had been rusted, so they ended up becoming bigger holes. This little pick here goes in about halfway with the tip on it, and on this it barely goes in at all. So that's a big difference. The burner here, on Amazon, when you'll click on the link, it shows that it's at 15 inches long, but it's not 15 inches long. This is a model number for this burner, and this is actually about a 14 and an 1/8 inches long. So I don't know why they said that. I'm going to report it to Amazon that they have the wrong measurement. So I'm going to take this camera off the tripod and bring you in to look at it. I also ordered the gasket. So what it does, it comes like this. This is the outside gasket, and then it has this one here for the igniter gasket. So that's all you'll need. This is just extra gasket that comes with it. So let's take a closer look. Here we are looking down on it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer so you can take a look. And as you can see, the opening here is a lot smaller than this one right here. And that's because this side right here has been rusting, and it just wore it all away. And it's actually probably pretty soon these would have started breaking out. I'm really surprised that any gas could get through this the way it was plugged up before and have some type of flame, because the heater was working for quite a while, and for, let's see, 5 years now. And so it didn't have any problems, and then all of a sudden it quit. So I know it didn't rust overnight. So anyway, I'm going to replace it with a new one, and we should have our problem solved. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clean the chamber up also. I'm going to need to remove the old gasket on the unit itself and replace it with a new one, and then also take the label off here. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the chamber and try and clean it up. I'm going to remove this gasket, and then I'm going to take a wire brush and try and clean up this chamber a little bit. And then back here, like I showed you before, is that orifice. It looks like it's in good shape. It just got some black char on it that I'm going to try and clean off with a Q-tip. And there's some black char up here. I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to try and clean it up a little bit, and then remove the gasket, like I said, and then I'll be ready to stick the new one in it, the new burner. Gasket's removed. I cleaned it the best I could with a wire brush, and the orifice is cleaner. Doesn't look like it's disfigured at all. And then I tied a rag on a stick and wiped it down in there to get it cleaned up. So now I'll go ahead and put the burner back in place with the gasket. I've got it back together, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing on. Got the new gasket in place. I highly recommend that if you pull this apart just to look at it, be careful. The gasket that's in place that I just removed was really brittle, so you're going to have to if you bump it or anything, it's going to crack and you're going to need to replace it. So I highly recommend replacing it. So all in all, everything else in here looks really good. So I'm not going to worry about it doing any other maintenance to it. But maybe in the future, I might take it apart and remove the whole unit out and then clean it all up and put it back in. But we'll see. If I can avoid it, I will. So I just turned it on, and now waiting for the burner to ignite. So it gets slid off in there. I'm going to go ahead and bring the camera closer so we can take a look at the burner. It's hard to tell. The flame looks better. The sight glass right very clear. It looks like it's scratched, but it looks like it's burning better. I'm going to let this run a while and then I'll come back to you. I want to make sure it doesn't go haywire with the flames again. It sounds normal out here with the new burner. I'm happy. This has been running for about 30 minutes and it's the flame is still nice. I'm going to come in a little closer. You might be able to see the flame. It's a nice clean blue flame, so I'm very happy with it, and it's putting out a lot of heat here. This area here, the fan is in the back, the heat's blowing out here, and there's tubes that it shoots down the ducts, but once I get the cover back on, the air will be able to flow through the ducts. But I'll tell you what, this heat is really flowing through here, so I know this heating system is going to work a lot more efficient now with this nice new burner. I'm going to have to keep an eye on this. If I camp at the coast a lot in the salty, breezy air out there, but it's worth it to camp at the coast. I'm going to put this back together. I want to thank everybody for watching. Take care, and I appreciate you leaving comments, asking questions. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. I appreciate it. I hope you learned something, and you saw how easy it is to do this repair or to investigate what's wrong with the heater. There's not much to it. You just have the burner, the igniter. There's a sail switch in there that tells it, hey, the fan's running, so now gas can run and ignite the burner. And there's a little, you can't see it right there, thermostat that makes sure the temperature doesn't exceed a certain temperature. I think it's 170 degrees. If it goes over that, it'll turn the unit off, just to protect things. So there's not much to it. Take care, everybody, and happy camping. And make sure you check below in the description below for the products I use and for any updates I might give on this in the future, how it's working. Thanks for watching, everybody. Happy camping.